Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
And welcome back to Those Were the Days, a show where we go back and take a look at some good old TV from yesterday and look at it through today's lens and see if it still holds up. I'm your host this week, Audie, and we've got a whole new theme around here. That's right, we're watching shows about female protagonists. Girl power, guys, girls, and everybody. Yeah, as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, what? Wait. So, but before we get into this week's show, let me introduce the rest of my fellow TV lovers. First, in all the colors, it's Amy.
So, we as children of the 70s and 80s learned that we thought that quicksand was going to be a huge risk, along with free drugs. But we also learned the most dangerous thing of all is a refrigerator.
Yes, it is. Then, in a regular gray t-shirt, we've got Steven.
Welcome to Crazy Earl's Stuffing Things. We sell all kinds of stuff. Refrigerators, generators, pizza ovens, circus animals, rotary tools, and bread-making machines. Low prices and 62% financing deals. No credit, no problem. Come on down today.
And finally, in pinkish coveralls, we've got Travis.
So, does anybody else remember defrosting a freezer? Because I definitely do.
I mean, I need to do my one in my basement if I'm honest, but that's a whole other thing.
All right, so if any of those weren't any good clues to you, this week we're talking about Punky Brewster. This was an American sitcom that ran on NBC from September of 84 until March of 86. Then again in syndication from October of 87 to May of 88. So a total of 4 seasons. It also spawned a Saturday morning cartoon, but what show or movie in the 80s didn't?
Fair.
But lasted for 26 episodes over 2 seasons and even had a 10-episode revival on Peacock in 2021. That was a continuation with an adult Punky. Single mom of 3 trying to get her life back on track when she meets a young girl who reminds her of her younger self. Like I said, that was only 10 episodes of the one season on Peacock. But we're talking about the OG Punky Brewster show. About a young girl, Penelope Punky Brewster, being raised by her foster dad in Chicago. She comes from an obviously broken home. Her father walked out on the family, and then her mother abandoned her at a shopping center along with her dog, Brandon. Punky finds a vacant apartment in a local building and tries to live there. But it's also across the hall from 60-year-old Henry Warnemont, a widowed photographer who manages the building and can be a grouch sometimes. He discovers Punky, she explains his story, and he decided to take her in and soon becomes her foster father. And then he legally adopts her in the second season. So the show revolves around Punky, her life with Henry, her best friend Jerry, and her other friends and people around the apartment building. And then in later seasons, at the local mall where Henry worked. So, usually we start a little sooner than me explaining the episode by asking what's everybody's history with the show. So let's go ahead and do that now. So, who remembers this awesome show? We'll start with you, Steven.
Oh, I remember it, but I never watched it. I just remember the name Punky Brewster. I remember the pigtails. But yeah, no, I wish I had more, but no history whatsoever with this show.
All right. What about you, Travis?
I definitely remember this show. I know I watched it some. I also remember watching the Saturday morning cartoon a little bit. The episode we are going to talk about tonight, I do specifically remember. But I mean, any child of that era kind of had to. Like, there was no way around that. Steven, you're just a little bit younger, so you missed that. But no, I definitely do remember it. I didn't watch it religiously or anything like that, but Punky Brewster was just a cultural icon at the time. I mean, you just knew that name.
What about you, Amy?
Oh, I for sure watched Punky Brewster. And it was great because when you said that you'd like we were talking post show, and you were like, "Okay, I've picked a show. I just need to figure out an episode." We said, "What show?" And you said, "Punky Brewster." And I said, "There's only one episode. There is
Right?
one episode to
Absolutely.
do. We have to do the episode." Yeah, and it was wild because I sat down to watch it, and I was like, because I didn't read anything before I went in to watch it again, right? Like I was just gonna watch it fresh, and I'm watching the credits, and I was like, "What was the dog's name? Is it like Brandon? No, it can't be Brandon. That's a man's name." And then it's 100% the dog's name. And I was like, "Okay, I pulled that out of like
Yep.
30 years of memory
Yep, it was
to
stuck in
like
there.
reel it in." Thank
Mhm.
God. There's no geometry in there, but that Punky Brewster's dog's name was Brandon. That's right there where I need it.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yes, I loved Punky.
nice. Absolutely all the credit to Amy for calling out which episode we absolutely should watch.
It
yeah.
was the easiest pick.
But yeah, I remember watching Punky Brewster all the time. I definitely remember it being regular viewing in our house, and definitely remember watching the Saturday morning cartoon as well. So it was
Could
well
not
versed.
wear mismatched socks without my father calling me Punky Brewster. Like that was like
Yes.
the whole thing.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So one other thing about the show, did anybody recognize the voice in the opening song?
No.
Mm.
Without
I
looking it up.
liked the opening song quite a bit.
Okay,
It was a fun, theme, but I can't place it.
Okay. It is well known. This is the third show we have watched with this guy that's written a theme song for a show.
Okay.
So Every Time I Turn Around was written by Gary Portnoy and Judy Hart Angelo. And it was sung by Portnoy. And he should sound familiar because the two of them also wrote and he sung the opening theme for Cheers.
Cheers. As soon as you said
Oh,
Portnoy,
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
cheers.
yeah.
That
Uh-huh.
was
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I am not as much a fan of this intro as I am of Cheers.
Well, Cheers
Oh,
is
Well, I mean,
Cheers is the bar. Like
Well,
it's
sure, but
different.
when
the
Travis
bar.
said I liked it, I was looking at my note that said this theme is not good. So we have a differing opinion over whether
I
this
think-
theme is good or not.
What it was is it fit the show. Like it
Mhm.
fit the vibe of the show and this precocious girl with her,
Mhm.
mismatched socks and all that kind of stuff. Like it just fit for that. It's
Yeah.
not the Cheers theme, but that's, the
Yeah.
impossible part.
Nothing
to,
is,
like,
yeah.
Not to mention, there's a whole lot of nostalgia for those of us that watched it all those years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
Oh, sure.
So the one other show that he wrote the theme song for, that they wrote the theme song for, but he didn't sing that one, was Mr. Belvedere.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that was one other thing I wanted to point out. But this week we watched season 2, episode 16, Cherry Lifesaver. So this was one of those very special episode types of episodes before we even had this is a very special episode
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
We didn't get it in the, like, if you watched it, like I watched it on Peacock. I don't know if everybody, is that
Yep.
where everybody else watched it?
Oh, yeah.
So unfortunately, with streaming, we lose the cool things like the special inserts at the beginning and end of the show. At the beginning of the show, this particular episode, actually, the storyline came from a contest the producers had for kids to write in.
Oh, snap.
Which is
So
really cool. I
the
like that.
winner, Jeremy Renez, Reenes. I don't know exactly how you pronounce that, but he actually, they had him like in a picture or something with the cast in an insert just before the episode starts.
Nice.
So it was pretty cool that that's where this episode comes from. So anyways, season 2, episode 16, Cherry Lifesaver. We open with the theme song, which shows kind of gives the whole story introduction of Punky being alone, then going to find the apartment, Henry meeting everybody, yada yada yada, as theme songs tend to do. It's funny watching it and remembering how long theme songs and intros to TV were.
Oh, my gosh.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you had to have time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gotta go
You got to
pee.
get there.
Gotta get your snack.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
Bring
a whole
everybody
deal.
from all over the house.
It's just it's interesting to look back at that and be like, okay, this is a half-hour sitcom. So you're talking 22 to 24 minutes
Yeah.
of runtime. At least a minute of that is your closing credits, but then you dedicate 2 to 3 minutes of your opening to it as well, to the song. Like, it's just crazy when you think about today and like maximizing the content of your videos, of your programming.
So we open up to Punky and Henry sitting at the table eating breakfast. I love that we first see Punky's cereal, crispy sugar beasties,
Heck yeah.
fortified with vitamins. I don't know
Yes.
why I needed to write that down, but I wanted to write
No,
it
it's
down.
so good.
Yeah,
No,
it's
all
important.
cereals,
That makes it okay.
Yeah.
yes, all breakfast cereals in the 80s were fortified with vitamins. Otherwise, you know,
And
were never
sugar,
in a
because they
box.
were sugar beasties.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, your parents
that's
might not
fine.
buy it for you if it doesn't have vitamins.
Mhm.
Also, this is the loudest kitchen I have ever seen. Like, the floor and the wall is just noise color explosion. I'm like, you drop a
Mhm.
screw or something on the ground, it's gone. Like, you're not gonna find
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Your life is over. Like, did anybody see where I dropped that little action figure? Nope. It's
Gone.
disappeared into the carpet forever.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Toast.
But-
That was the time. Like,
It's like
I
the
have friends
table
who
at
have
a Chili's. It was just
Yep.
yeah.
absurd
Ma-
busy.
My friends have an old house, and it was redone in like the early 80s, and every wall is different.
Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord.
I think I've told the story on this show about when we were when my grandparents moved into the nursing home and they were going to be selling their house. It's a triple decker down in New Bedford, and my mother had wallpapered the kitchen, and it was these like brown mushrooms, right? Like it was this, and it looked very like 70s brown mushroom wallpaper. But then we got to the parts that were like behind the cabinet. It was not brown. It was orange and yellow and like the most psychedelic colors. And we were like, it has been brown my entire life. But that's because it was 20 years old when I was born.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
It was so good.
Well, on top of the weird colors, we hear a noise, and I love that they initially blame the dog.
Yeah.
Excuse yourself, Brandon. But turns
As you
out
always
it's the
do.
refrigerator. And Henry's like, we should probably get a new one, is what Punky tells him. And it's funny that even all the way back then, we get these were built when things were made to last.
Mhm.
I wrote down that, and like, yeah, this is from a show that's almost 40 years ago now.
Yeah.
It hasn't gotten better.
No,
No.
no. But you can get a refrigerator with a whole screen on it if you want.
Oh
True.
yeah. Tell you when you're out of milk. Order
Exactly.
it for you. Let me show you what's on the inside of your fridge without opening the door, because we need
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We need more reasons to not use our appendages.
No, I'll say the one modern fridge thing. My parents have one where if you push a button on the handle, it'll only open up the very outside of the door. So if you're just getting like ketchup out of the door,
Ooh,
that's pretty nice.
That
It's
is
pretty
nice.
fancy.
It's a neat feature. It'd be great if
Mhm.
ice makers worked consistently, though.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no.
uh-huh.
There's like a class action lawsuit about that from my parents' refrigerator.
Every-
it has never worked.
I'll call them out here on the show. Samsung, get your act
Samsung.
together.
Yep.
Quit being a giant piece of crap.
Yeah.
Either don't make them or make
Yeah.
them right. Okay?
Yeah. You make great TVs though.
Right TV,
I'll
cell
give
phones,
you
that.
stay in your lane.
Uh-huh. It's funny, we had a refrigerator that was what's the Best Buy brand?
Oh, Insignia.
Insignia or
Insignia,
something.
yeah.
Or it might be something else for the
I don't know.
kitchen stuff.
Whirlpool.
But I had to install an ice maker in that, and that thing actually worked well, impressively.
Wow.
So the
Yeah.
Best Buy store brand, not too bad.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Samsung could eat it, just like Henry's fridge. Because
Oh my god, it's
as soon as
so
they say
good.
something, more noises and then black smoke coming out the
Oh,
back.
Okay, but we
That's
need
not
to
what you
talk
want.
about. Do you remember, like, I mean, because they still do in hotel fridges, which why they have the tiny freezer in the hotel fridge.
Oh,
No
yeah.
one's putting anything in there. But when the freezer was inside the fridge,
Uh-huh.
like it was like
Yeah.
a little box in the fridge. Yeah,
And that was why you had to defrost it, because it
Yeah.
was colder than everything else, and so the frost would build up.
Yeah.
And because that was the big thing in the 80s, right? Frost-free refrigerators.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the case of what he bought from that we'll get to, a side by side, which are
Yeah.
the worst design of refrigerator freezer ever.
Yeah, you're telling me
Yeah.
I own one. I have to put my pizzas in
Mm.
sideways.
Oh yeah.
Hate
Mm.
For the
That
vertical
sucks.
pizza system is stupid. I hate it.
Middle Age is forming a lot of opinions about kitchen appliances.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, I finally got to the point where I have the chest freezer in the basement.
Oh
Yeah, I'm
that's the way
living
to
the life
go.
now.
There you go.
yeah.
Sam's Club. Now I know what to do. Load up the
Yeah.
meats. Uh-huh.
The way to do it. So then we get Punky's best friend Cherry and her grandma Betty coming in, and they immediately are like waving their hands, smelling the smoke. Like, what happened in here? Did you try making French toast again?
No, it's his gasoline powered refrigerator.
Diesel fuel
His
smell.
diesel. It's got a ripcord in the back, like the lawnmower.
And that's not
Yeah.
even like the vehicle diesel. That's the old number 2 fuel oil
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
for off-road use only.
It's running rich, this refrigerator.
I love Grandma Betty comes in and is just like, that thing's almost as old as you are, so probably should replace it. So, and it's funny, at this point we get an intro into what's going to be a focus of this episode,
Uh-huh.
where Punky and Cherry is like, oh, we should probably we could do first aid on it. Like, first aid, what are you talking about? And they're talking about they're learning first aid, and specifically CPR in class.
Yes.
So they talk about that. And then Henry goes and finds the warranty for his fridge. I love the joke
This is
that,
such a good line.
that Betty comes back with, like, who printed it? Gutenberg?
But if you look at it, it really is in like Gothic font. Like it's
Yeah.
so
Yes.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
It's fantastic.
Really
Props,
good.
like, props knew what they were doing when they were making that.
Yep.
Mhm.
So we cut to the kids actually in school. Apparently they are learning CPR. So learn CPR, save a life is the
Sure.
motto
That's
we
right.
get. Apparently they had a book to read and everything, and our buddy Alan did not read it.
Mm.
And let me tell you all the nostalgia that came flowing back when I saw these kids again. And I was like, yep, I remember Alan. Yep, I remember Margot. It was just
There
like,
were a
oh my
lot of
gosh.
vests happening.
Mhm.
It was the 80s.
Like there's a
that's
lot
what
of
we did.
layering, which I mean, I know we did it, but I was like, wow, this is an alarming number of vests.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So
And let's not forget, teaching the class was one TK Carter. I love
Yes.
TK
Oh,
Carter
yeah.
so
Absolutely.
much. I mean, of course, every time I see him, I think of The Thing, right? Because he was Knowles in The Thing, and I love that movie. It's just weird to see him teaching a class of kids, but no, I love TK Carter.
Yeah.
So
And he was great on the show as their teacher, doing a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the kids are learning CPR. They're like, wait, we can learn CPR? And he's like, yeah, you can. But Alan keeps yucking it up. And teaches like, hey, this is not a game. And then he pulls out Recessa Annie.
Which is
The
a real
CPR
thing.
Danny
Is what
Yep.
they
dummy.
call it. Like that's what
that,
it is.
Uh-huh.
That flooded back memories too, seeing Recessa Annie, because I definitely learned CPR with one of those. I don't remember
Yep.
if it was in school or Boy Scouts or a combination of the two, but I know that I've done that.
I definitely remember learning it on a dummy when I was training for camp back in the day. I don't think ours was as well dressed or had such a great
Oh no, for sure.
didn't have good,
No.
Ours was
that
not.
good a hair as Annie did. But
Just a torso with a head.
yeah,
That's really
Yeah.
all you get
Pretty
most of
much.
the time.
hmm So, but then Alan cracks wise again and says, "No thanks, she's not my type." And so Teach had it, so he gets sent to the principal's office, which means he doesn't get to learn CPR.
This is important.
Yes, it
This
is
is
important.
important. So, next up, we get Punky and Margot get picked to team up and do it. So it was really funny too. Margot's lovely little joke of like learning CPR is like, no, in 50 years I won't need to do it. I'll have my husband do it.
Yeah, I'll be married to a doctor.
I'll be married to a
I'll be
doctor.
married to a doctor.
Yeah, the real life goals for young girls in the 80s.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I know Amy
I was
wanted
like-
to throw a potato at the TV.
I did.
I mean, I
But
did.
also just like, honey, yeah, you probably should actually. Like you seem like you maybe don't have it all together. Yeah. Maybe that's not a bad idea for
You're like,
you.
maybe some people should just marry
And
money.
that's fine.
That's
That's
fine.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna judge that.
Sure.
There are a lot of dudes
Man.
I know that probably should have just married money. I'd like to be a
It's
kept
better.
man.
So they go through, and I appreciate that they went through the actual ways you should
Mhm.
approach CPR. Like,
I mean,
They
because he
did-
makes a
for sure.
point of pointing out, like, you can break someone's ribs, which
Yeah.
I mean, in
Mhm.
in reality, if you do it right, you probably will.
You typically do.
Especially if they're elderly, like you
Alright.
for sure are gonna.
Yeah.
Uh,
This is why DNRs exist, kids.
yeah.
Mhm.
It hurts a lot
Yeah.
to be resuscitated.
So
Yeah.
they go through the steps, call the paramedics.
Yep.
And then they ask the person, "Are you all right?" And then they go through the look, listen, and feel. So looking to see if their chest is moving, listening and feeling if they're breathing at all. None of that's happening, so they go into the CPR. And first we get Punky doing the 4 quick breaths. And then we get Margot doing the 4 chest pumps. And then TK here is doing a good job of telling us specifically placing his hand where you should be placing your hands to do the chest compressions. They didn't explain it in complete detail like you would get,
But
if
way
you're actually
more than
training,
like
but-
you would expect
Right, exactly.
for
for
like
sure.
a thing. And like I'm pretty sure that like I mean don't take Punky Brewster as how you do it because I'm pretty sure all
Right.
of this has changed since
I was
then.
going to say,
Oh.
I didn't get a chance
None
to
of
look
this
up
is
current
none of
standards,
this is
but-
still what we do. But it's fine.
Right.
Yeah, we don't breathe in people anymore is the big thing.
No.
You don't
Yeah.
put your mouth on others. They determined that was like not really doing what the job. The chest compressions is the key. What I found
Mhm.
cool was that you said her name and I've already forgot it. The blonde little girl,
Margot.
Margot. She was doing like the right move. She put like the one hand
The
and then
two
the other
fingers,
hand
yeah.
without
and
even
then-
really
yep.
being shown that. So clearly they had
Right.
trained ahead of time
Sure.
for this pivotal moment in the show.
Yeah.
She did.
I mean, again,
job.
they're, despite not telling you exactly what they're doing, they're showing you everything exactly as it should be done.
Yeah, if you were watching this
Which
with
is
the sound
impressive.
off, you'd be like, "Oh, that's how it's done," and you get close. You'd get close.
I mean, in it like a wild emergency where you, the 9-year-old, are the only one available, like,
Or
you
the only
probably
one
could
who
do all right.
apparently
That's-
knows what they're doing,
Yeah, that's why good Samaritan laws exist.
I mean,
Mhm.
because
Give it
you
a try.
can't, you're not going to redcross.org on your phone to look it up. You're not
Right,
going
yeah.
to YouTube going, how do I do
How do I
this?
make that
Uh-huh.
happen? Well,
So, and it was funny too, like just that they made the kids do it as accurately as possible to actually show off
Yeah.
the little light doohickeys from the dummy.
yeah, that was cool.
Like they made a special, made sure that was shown and made sure the teacher was telling them, hey, y'all did it correctly. The lights showed up the way they should. So we get our CPR training and then we go to Henry, who is fridge shopping. And I loved, like, the first thing I noticed is all the posters were completely handwritten.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I was
were
like, oh my gosh, props, way
Perfect.
to go. So good.
Crazy Ollie's
Um,
stuff store.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
first of all, I'm never buying an appliance at a store with a clown. I'm just not.
No, that was weird.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
Or
Just not.
or
The
from
seal
somebody
was fine.
named. Yeah. The seal was fine. The clown was not. But I'm also not buying appliances from somebody who calls themselves Cheapo Chester.
Yep.
Right,
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
No.
And
feels
if it is
sketchy.
Frank Bonner,
You don't
I
sell anything
Yeah.
to Cheapo Chester
Yeah.
either.
No.
No.
Like I don't trust Herb Tarlack anyway.
Yeah.
But like I'm definitely not trusting him to sell me appliances.
Right.
Yeah, I really watching this made me appreciate that we do have like big box stores with like
Yeah.
Where
Like
you
I
don't
don't want
have
to be
to-
sold anything.
yeah,
Like,
Mhm.
hey, can I have this thing? Great.
Yeah, you
Right.
don't go into like
Phenomenal.
furniture. Everyone hates furniture stores because you walk in and they're like, "Hey, can I sell you a
Hey,
couch?" You're like, "Oh
no.
gosh,
hmm
this is why IKEA is popular because I don't have to talk to people like you. You
Right.
just go get
Yeah,
things in a box and walk out."
love it.
But
Yeah.
for
But
those
I
of
will
you who
say,
didn't catch it when Travis was saying it, Cheapo Chester played by Frank Bonner.
Yeah.
yes. And there is a short list of perfect casting, and Frank Bonner as a smooth, quick talking salesman guy,
Mhm.
used car salesman,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
is exactly that,
Mhm.
always.
Yep. So Henry's in here looking for the fridge that was in the paper, but unfortunately, it's
As we all
gone.
know.
Yep. It's just gone. There's not any more. But Chester's trying to sell him one of these more pricey fridges, but he'll get a free clock in the deal if he buys it.
And a container set, genuine plastic.
hmm
That's right.
So Henry's very iffy about it. Not sure he wants this one, even though he's getting sold on all the good things about it. When all of a sudden another guy comes into the picture and he's like, flashing cash, I want this fridge right now. And Henry's like, wait. I was here first. He was trying to sell it to me. Well, I'm ready to buy it right now. Well, I was here first, so I'm going to purchase this fridge.
So that
Yep,
guy
that guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
is James Hampton.
James Hampton.
James
Mhm.
Hampton, who I know most notably from Condor Man.
Oh
Yes.
wow, that is not where I thought
Yes.
you were going.
That's not where I remembered him from, but
I
no.
remembered
Having
him
now
from.
seen that movie, I know him
You
from Condor Man as
understand
well. I
why
do.
that's the association.
I know him as
Mhm.
Teen Wolf's dad.
That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was like, wait a minute, it's that guy. And I looked it up. I was like, aha, it is that guy.
Yep.
Mhm.
So anyways, the guy, he's all sad because he's not getting his fridge with all that cash. Chester takes Henry to the back to go fill out the paperwork and all that stuff. And then he does the exact same scheme on another lady looking at the fridge right after. In
Yep.
case you didn't catch that it was a scheme, they wanted to make sure you know, hey,
That
this
it's
is a
a scheme.
scheme.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, we're still doing that scheme,
oh, yeah.
right?
That's
Like
true.
the ads that you see on Black Friday, the incredible electronics ads, like it's one. They have one
Yeah.
at that price.
Sure.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, that's, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, we're still doing this scheme. It's
Yep,
fine.
absolutely.
Cash on the barrelhead.
It's
Mhm.
funny too. Apparently, James Hampton's character's name was Alvin. I never actually
Oh,
heard his name,
I
but
didn't hear it
in the
either.
Yeah,
in the
no.
credits, he's
Shout out. I
Alvin.
mean, good. Glad they gave
So
him a name.
Yeah, they got to write it in
Yeah.
the script somewhere. He can't just be
Yeah,
Yeah.
guy
apparently.
number one. He's a speaking part.
hmm So we cut back to the kids now playing in the backyard of the apartment building, playing hide and seek. We've got the old fridge out there. We've got the new fridge box out there. We've got the tree house that they get to play in. And so they're running around. Alan's counting. They're all running around trying to find a place to go to. Sherry's Punky and Margot get in the box of the old fridge. Sherry's trying to look for a hiding spot. Henry comes out. And he's going back and forth doing maintenance things. Just before they started playing, he made sure to tell him. Or no, it was
No, it's after.
afterwards.
So
Yeah.
Cherry runs in
So
when he
Cherry
comes
runs
out.
in when he comes out, and he's like, "Don't y'all play in the fridge now."
Mm-hmm.
And so he saw her go inside. He goes and does his thing, and they're still playing hide and seek. Cherry comes back out, can't find a hiding spot, decides, "Oh, I'll just get in the fridge."
To
And
her
then,
credit, that is a great hiding spot.
yeah, I mean it is.
Sure.
So Alan is now starting to look for everybody. He doesn't find Punky and Margot before they can get out of the box and go back to base, and they're
Now,
safe.
what I really liked, because as he was counting down, I was like, well, the first place I would look is in the fridge. Like
Mhm.
that's the like me as seeker in hide
Mhm.
and seek. First
Right.
place I'm looking is in that fridge. And that
Yep.
is the first place he goes to. But then Punky and Margot pop out of the box to go get, to go ollie ollie in free.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so he gets distracted trying to get him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then Henry comes back. It's starting to snow. They're like, we should probably take this inside. And Henry's like, I'll take the door to the fridge off later after it's done snowing. So everybody goes inside.
Because they're
Except-
like, we have to find Cherry.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's like, well, she's inside.
Yeah.
I saw her
Henry-
go inside.
Henry
She's
saw
in
her
there.
run in. Yeah.
So that's where she is. So they all go inside. But who's not actually inside? Cherry, because she's inside the fridge.
And this is where this show went from a good time to a
Yeah.
horror movie.
Yep.
Okay.
And made Stephen cry because there was a
Yeah.
small child trapped in a refrigerator yelling to get out and no one was there. And I was like, I don't do well with that. I was like, way to go, Audie. Why don't you just break me in half today with this children's show? Thanks a lot.
This
Now
is
you know how the
important.
rest of America felt when we
How,
watched this
now you
episode.
know how we're all in peril all the
Mhm.
time from refrigerators.
It was sheer
Now, you know,
panic. I was
I mean,
panicked.
we talked like when the next to last the disavowed Indiana Jones movie came out, people talked about how unrealistic it was that he got in a refrigerator and survived a nuclear blast and flew through the air. It was this refrigerator because this refrigerator sealed shut, no problem.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he would have made it. Yeah, it made it worse because like one of my greatest fears is being stuck. Not
Yeah.
necessarily claustrophobic. I can be in an elevator. It's like a tiny place where I can't move my arms and legs. Like, no, let me out. So I'm
Yeah.
just watching this, like, living a nightmare, waiting for the commercial break.
It's important to point out that old refrigerator doors had a latch and lock to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you could
Mhm.
not just push it like a modern refrigerator. You could just push open. You
Yeah.
wouldn't
Right.
get stuck in there. They changed that design because of people getting stuck in them
Mhm.
or the potential for that. But
Yep.
that was a real
Because like
thing
if you
that could happen.
go to like at the grocery store out back or like a restaurant, like the big cooler,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
like they latch and there's a button on the
Yeah.
inside to unlatch it to get out because
Mhm.
otherwise you would be stuck.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's a modern marvel because
That's a modern marvel.
Mhm.
Short
for when you
circuit
have to-
too. They got stuck in the freezer and they couldn't get out.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But now you got to go cry in the cooler
Yeah.
on your
right.
break. So you do need to be able to let yourself out.
Everyone
Or-
else is
or in
getting
the
to
case of-
smoke. You don't smoke,
Yeah,
so you go hide in
You
the
don't
freezer.
smoke, so you have to go cry
Mhm.
in the freezer. I'm just
or
saying.
in the case of what we did when I worked in restaurants, which was cooler fights.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was the walk-in cooler became Thunderdome. two people enter. First one to leave loses.
Anyway, so now we get back to everybody's inside, and well, Henry's kind of doing that. He's enjoying his ice now.
It's so good.
I love
I
that.
felt this so much. I was like, "Oh no, that's me.
And
That's me. That was me with my new washer dryer when I got it."
Uh-huh.
Right? Like, and it's playing the little song, and
Oh,
it's got
yeah.
all the settings,
yeah.
and I was like, "Yeah, this is it."
Gosh.
And I love that he's messing with ice while Miss Betty's over there drinking hot chocolate because it's snowing outside.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's a new refrigerator. We got to play with our toy.
Mhm.
And then Henry tells her he got it from Cheapo Chester. And then Betty begins to explain the story of her cousin or something
Yeah.
Yeah.
having a very,
She
very exact same experience with Cheapo Chester.
Yeah, she doesn't trust him because he took advantage of her cousin.
Mhm.
How'd he do that? Oh.
She was buying this
And-
thing, and then this guy came over.
And George Gaines, his
So good.
acting in this scene is so perfect because it's
Mhm.
just
really good.
the slow realization that she is describing exactly what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you guess? How'd you know? Lucky guess. Like,
Yep.
go sulk with my ice.
So then we cut to the kids coming back into the apartment, still looking for Cherry, not being able to find her anywhere in the building. So now they get the adults involved, and everybody starts looking for her. And at this point, Henry and Alan end up going out back, and that's when they end up finding her in the fridge. So they open the fridge, find her in there, passed out, pull her out, lay her down. And then they're like, what should we do? And Henry's like, well, you learned CPR, Alan. Do something.
Great move, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're-
Ideal.
way to be the adult in the room.
Right. And Alan,
Now, I mean, granted, if I knew that a small child had like actual learned skills that I don't have, I would be like, are you in? Like,
Yeah,
great.
sure.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
true. I mean, Henry, when he was that age, he was shooting deer and feeding the family and,
Yeah.
clearing the back 40. So this is
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, save this person, kid. You're basically an adult.
Yep.
Get on it.
Unfortunately, poor Alan did not go through CPR training because he was sent to
went
the principal's office.
Oh, this was so convincing too. He sold that.
Oh
so
my gosh,
well.
yeah.
So
Especially at
good.
the end. We'll talk about it. We'll get there. But
Yeah.
yeah. So then Punky and Margot come outside and they come right to the rescue. They don't waste any time. They go through everything. They do what is it? They tell them, call the paramedics. They do the look, listen,
Well,
and feel.
because Henry sends the kid in to go call
Yep.
Alan.
Right.
He's like, go call and get Grandma Betty.
Right.
Betty.
I thought it was
Mhm.
interesting that they kept saying call the paramedics, and I'm like, why don't they say call 911? Why are we using big words like paramedics?
Because I wonder if we didn't have 911. Like, we didn't have
Not everywhere had
911 in
911, yeah.
1984.
Really?
Like where I lived. No,
Same.
it
Wow.
was
Same here.
653-1212.
Holy cow! Yeah, but Henry did
wow.
say he said, "Do you know how to call the paramedics?" And Alan said, "Dial 911." He said, "Yeah." So
Right.
maybe
'Cause
Henry
they're in
wasn't
Chicago.
used to it.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe Henry
Yeah.
911 was new to him, so call the paramedics was the right thing to say.
Yeah.
And then Alan says, "Yeah, 911." Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, in fairness to
understand
Henry,
now.
he grew up in an era where you had to call the switchboard and say,
Yeah,
"Excuse me,
yeah.
Crestfield
True.
224."
Yeah. Yeah, he grew up in an era where people just didn't make it when they fell over in outside.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Just went, he's coming, but he's got his slow horse today. The dog's bringing his bag of stuff.
Yeah.
We're
We're gonna put a poultice on it. Don't
slap
worry
you,
about
and
it.
pour whiskey down your throat. Nope, he's not waking up.
Yeah.
So Punky and Margot start doing CPR on Cherry. And of course, they were trained and they do it well and it works. And Cherry is revived. So everybody's very happy about this. Cherry's grandmother is, of course, very, very happy about this. Poor Alan in the back is crying because he could not help his friend and felt very, very sorry about it. And I gotta hand it to let's see, what was the actor's name? Casey Ellison.
Casey.
He did
He did
a
a
marvelous
good
job.
He was real cute.
Yeah.
He was.
Even with the tears and everything, did a really good, convincing job. So
He's the lighting systems technician for the Mandalorian.
No
yep.
way.
Oh wow,
Good on
I'm like,
you,
I'm like,
bud.
what's this guy doing? Oh,
there you
he
go.
also
Stayed in
did that
business.
on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Nice.
All right. Good
Good
for you.
sir. Yeah, he was the electrician on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh,
That's what he does now. He doesn't
That's-
act anymore. He does.
Nice.
I bet he knows
awesome.
CPR.
I
Yep.
feel like
bet
he
he does
has
now.
to.
Yeah. When you work in electricity, I think you need to have
Yeah, when you're the
CPR.
best boy.
It's true.
Mhm.
Ooh, yeah. Best boy
So-
grip.
The other thing I really appreciate, we get Alan's confession and he's very sorry and everything, and then we get Henry, the adult, saying, "You shouldn't feel bad. I should know
I
this
didn't
too.
know how to do it either. Yeah.
I didn't know how
Mhm.
to do this. I should have taken the fridge door off when I said I was going to. I shouldn't have waited. So do not blame yourself, child. The adult taking responsibility.
But let's go learn together.
Mhm.
Right. Let's go learn this together." So I appreciated that part too. And then we just
Yeah.
kind of end with everybody sitting around Sherry.
Okay, but it was
Um,
really sweet because Punky put Cherry's head in her lap and like
Mhm.
gave her forehead kisses, and I was like, "This is
Yep.
very sweet and wonderful, and I love it."
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I love when it's like, are you feeling okay? I'm hungry. Yep. You're
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
she's
The
fine.
kid is
enjoyed
okay.
it.
And you can hear the sirens coming.
Right.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
Help is approaching.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then that's where we end the episode. And then at the end of this episode, they did, what was it? Like I said, they had a thing at the beginning, and then at the end, they had a special insert just talking about CPR and telling you,
Go
where you
learn.
can learn it. Yeah, that kind of thing. Um, so that was Punky Brewster, season 2, episode 16, Cherry Lifesaver. So I'm gonna ask Steven first, since you're the newbie to the show. What did you think?
I liked it. You picked a good episode. If I was like, this is one of those shows. I think I appreciate it because it is an '80s show that respects the kids in the show, or at least
Yeah.
it seems to. I have
Mhm.
one episode to go off of, but it seemed like a thing you don't see as often these days. Kids are handed a very mature situation. They handle it like kids, but also like really maturely, and it was fun to watch. Like I could see showing this to Sam and him getting inspired to maybe learn how to do that. Learn how to do
Yeah.
CPR. Like it feels like it
Yeah.
would have an impact on me if I mean I'm an adult and it has an impact on me. I'm like I should really learn proper
Yeah, some
CPR.
first
Right.
aid. Yeah.
Yes, I
Mhm.
mean it did its job. It was fun. I liked the little girl in it. I liked the kids were great. Like yeah, great show, top notch.
Yep. Amy, what about you?
Yeah, this was real good to go back. I loved it.
Yep.
I love Punky because she's so. I mean, like you gotta like the whole storyline is she's like a squatter in Chicago.
Mhm.
You know
Right.
what I mean? Like she's a tough little spitfire, which is
Mhm.
really nice. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, like in this show, the kids have agency, like,
Mhm.
which is not. I feel like especially I feel like in '90s shows, anytime kids sort of did their own thing, it was them getting in trouble because they drove a car through the house or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Like that was the '90s version, but like in the '80s, and she's like a latchkey kid, like
Right.
she has the key around her
Yep.
neck. You can
Mhm.
see it,
Mhm.
which that was great. I love Punky.
Yep. Travis, what about you?
Oh, this was fantastic. I mean, obviously we picked the right episode. It's
Mhm.
like the highest
the
rated episode of the
episode.
series. But no, it was so much fun because it's just like Amy said, the kids have agency and they're just being kids and doing stuff. Like I loved the classroom scene because one of my notes was this kid never knows when to quit.
Yeah.
Like he just keeps going.
Mhm.
And Mike isn't having any of it. And he keeps
Right.
telling him that. And the kid just keeps, so he finally just kicks him out.
Mhm.
And it's
Um,
also right, like, because it's very clearly a special day, right?
Yeah.
We're
Mhm.
learning first aid. So, because all the desks are moved out of the way, like, this is an
Yep.
unusual day. So, someone in that situation is going to, like, act up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Mike is
Yeah.
like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
We're
Mhm. And I
trying to
feel
do a
like-
thing, and this is important.
Yeah, and it gives that feeling like normally he's got a pretty long leash, and
Yeah.
Mike puts up with a good
Mhm.
amount because he's he's all right. But this was important, and he wanted
Yeah.
to make sure of that.
Yep.
So I really liked that. Obviously, seeing TK Carter, but like George Gaines, Henry's awesome. Like the
Yeah.
whole show was great. I kind of wish I'd watched it more when I was younger, but
Yeah.
it is something that I definitely would watch again.
Yeah. Same, for sure. I really enjoyed it. Like I said before, all the nostalgia, just seeing all the characters and
Yep.
hear the theme song, and just the one thing we didn't get that Steven, you missed is frequently Punky had a catchphrase called Punky Power.
I remember
Yeah.
Punky Power. That
So-
was
Yeah.
it was in syndication when I was little, and I do remember Punky Power. Even after it had gone off the air, that was still a thing when I was 5 or 6.
This episode was too serious for Punky Power.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We simply
Yeah.
cannot.
Yeah, it would have been a little strange to be Punky Power and then giving
And
breath
then
to
give
it.
CPR.
Yep. So, did we get any feedback?
I checked the mail.
Anywhere.
I got nothing in the emails today.
I did not see anything on Blue Sky.
I got the one response from A Stigma. I have vague memories of watching the show, but I remember that this episode caused a lot of people, especially parents, to teach kids not to climb inside old fridges and freezers.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Very true.
it's
Yep.
good.
Now, as an adult with poor impulse control, I'm like, man, I could sit in the fridge.
I could go in there, nice
I
and
could go in
cool,
there. Yeah,
Yep.
it'd be so
alone.
nice. It'd be
You
cheaper
know?
than running my air conditioners.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I could get out.
Yep. Well, remember, dear listener, if you have feedback, let us know. Come hang out with us in the chat when we record. Send us an email, thosedayshow@gmail.com. Come hit us up on the Blue Sky, thosedayshow.bluesky.social.
Mhm.
Come hang out in the Two Dorks Discord. Steven, what's the best way to get there?
twodorks.net/discord will get you right into the community. Come say hey.
Sweet. Oh, and Steven, one more thing. Hey, you've got the show for us next week.
I
So what
sure do.
are we watching?
You said female protagonist. And
Mhm.
I
That is what we
thought,
said.
and I thought, and I thought, and there is only one female protagonist that I could think of that I want to go visit. Because it's the first female protagonist that I can remember watching and enjoying. And that is Clarissa on Clarissa Explains It All.
Nice.
Oh, snap.
We are
Wow,
going to
nice.
watch Clarissa Explains It All, Season 5, Episode 4, Piper Comes to Visit. That can be found on Paramount Plus.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Yep, it's going to be a good time. I've never watched this
Amazing.
episode or don't recall it, so it's going to be a journey for all four of us.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that is nowhere near what the variety of things I was expecting.
Right?
to
Yep.
come out of
Not even
Sunday.
close.
It's so modern. I can't even handle it.
It's modern.
Uh-huh.
Like, what are we doing?
What
That's
is
so
happening?
new.
You were like,
Yep.
that girl? No, not quite.
Yeah, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. Carol Burnett? No?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, not
All
this
right.
time.
Wow. Well, that is going to be a heck of a thing to watch
Yeah.
and talk about next week. So until next week, and Clarissa Explains It All, for Amy, for Steven, for Travis, I'm Audie, and this has been Those Were the Days. Go watch some more female protagonist TV, and we will see you next week. And remember, Punky Power.
Punky Power.
Oh, and don't get in a fridge. Oh, and go learn CPR.